watched people say, what? What? What's up, guys? Uncle Pencil here, and here we want to do a breakdown and review of chapter 133 of Four Nights of the Ababali, which is known as bisection. And you want to talk about a bisection, is that this chapter is bisected into many different peak sections with the return of a peak character, because everything's peak and sliced in half. Like, darn near everything in this chapter gets sliced in half. I'll probably get sliced in half before the end of this chapter. So let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. Ending me. Ready. 3, 2, 1. Go. What's up, guys? So that guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. I mean, another fun fact. I still can't believe it. We actually have a human character who can go relative with this, at least what seems to be a pure human character. Because there are some questions raised in this chapter about their efficacy, their humanity. Well, no, they have to be human. Then again, Nanashi can live in Camelot. So maybe they don't have to be human. Who knows? The four perils, the four evils, things could get spicy. But let's not waste any more time. Let's actually hop into chapter 133, bisection. Okay. Do I go to the Google? But I highly doubt this is a name that I can find on the Googler. If someone can do me the heavenly favor of sounding out this guy's name phonetically for me, so I can remember how to say it, I would greatly appreciate that. Because right now, I'm going to call him Beltripe. 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 I'm going to roll the R's, because that's every time there's an R towards the end of a name, I tend to roll. Look at the see, I rolled the R. I didn't even roll an R there. Diodora and Beltripe. I'm going to call him that. I'm assuming it's wrong, because a lot of what I say is wrong. So with that being the case, Beltripe, the Green Knight of the Four Evils, suddenly appears. How will Anne and Donnie stand up to it? Interesting that the term "it" is used. Nakaba doesn't, like, stand up to him, stand up to them, stand up to... Like, you can be ambiguous about their gender by just saying them. How will Anne and Donnie stand up to them? But notably, it's stand up to it. So I wonder, how organic is Beltripe? Is he actually organic? Is he a creation of Arthur? We don't know. Once again, with the whole lack of information on a lot of the Camelot Knights, the only one we know, like, anyway, half-decent information on from the previous series is Jericho. Everyone else is new. Jericho and Nanashi. And even then, we barely know anything about Nanashi from the original series. I got more context for Nanashi in like one chapter of this series than we did throughout the entirety of the original series. But outside of Jericho and Nanashi, we have no clue about any of these knights. So interesting that it is used. Though once again, I believe this is not the official translation. There are some issues going on with Kodansha in the official translation. So if there are any weird translation things, maybe this is just that. So I probably won't be going full in like words. They mean things. I won't be going full, like, pencil theory on certain things. If they seem weirdly translated, then they're just weirdly translated. Because, hey, I'm happy anyone's translating Four Nights, because, I love reading Four Nights. So let's actually go into chapter 133, bisection, destination Britannia. So we open up, and we do get to see that Beltripe is very, very excited. As he says, I don't know how you... Wait. I swear I can read. I don't know how and where you have been hiding our people up until now, but I can promise you, I am so happy that I can finally eliminate you all. So Beltripe is admitting that they just straight have never encountered them. And I'm assuming this is a translation thing. I'm assuming this is meant to say, I don't know how and where you have been hiding from our people until now. Rather than you have been hiding our people. That implies, like, Donnie and Anne and crew have been, like, kidnapping Camelot citizens and taking them away. I don't think so. Maybe somewhat in the sense that they're returning to Britannia. I'm assuming what Beltripe means here is that, oh, you've been able to escape our watch for, like, 2 years because we're kind of trash at our jobs. But I'm happy that I'm finally here to prove that we're not that trash at our jobs. And we can actually take care of you remnants. Now, if you were Lancelot, maybe we'd have some issues. Well, other than that, it's just Donnie and Anne. A.k.a. Trash 1 and Trash 2. Let's take care of you real quick. And we see that Beltripe, he does not hold back at all. He's like, the pests that are threat and calamity to this peaceful land. Now, Camelot being a peaceful land, I mean, bro, do you not see the chaos holes? Them things don't look peaceful. They don't look sweet. they look extremely about the business, if I do have to say so myself. So I'm not sure. Beltripe, how peaceful is your land really, dog? How peaceful is it really? But with that being the case, I do get why he says that, right? Notably, I don't know why Beltripe serves Arthur. Maybe he's just a smoke demon. I don't know. I would kind of not be mad at that. But heck, we don't even know why Pelgard, a character we've gotten way more explanation on than Beltripe, we don't even know why he serves Arthur, considering he seems like a nicer guy. But with that being the case, there's the question of, what does Beltripe see in this peaceful land? Because for Nanashi, it's the servitude of Arthur. For Jericho, it's the fact that Arthur can offer her a version of Lancelot. No matter how weird that is, to this very day. Nakaba. Why? But with that being the case, we know Jericho wants her own little copy of Lancelot. Ironside wants Deodra. Well, Mortlock did want Deodra. And Pelgard, once again, is a mystery. And Beltripe is a mystery. Heck, we even knew Ardbeg. He most likely wanted another copy of his daughter back. But I wonder what has Beltripe, what's his motivation for serving Arthur so loyal? Well, I guess, yeah, so loyally, because he doesn't even, begin to hold back or do anything on this crew, as you'll so soon see. And we see that the Donners is like, wait a minute, bro. Now, who are you calling Pass? And he immediately rips out a piece. Once again, I do like how much more nuanced his control has been, because presumably he's still lifting the main island that he's on at this point. And he proceeds to use a certain hand sign in order to control only a piece of it to break it off the island mass and just throw it straight at Beltripe. And I will respect that. Obviously, over the 2 years, it's harder to tell Anne's growth, mainly because her magic is not... How do I put this? Her magic is not clearly scalable. That's the weird thing. Due to Investigator and how it works, it is sort of just like, okay, she knows how to activate it better and quicker, and she has gained some more sword skills. That's pretty much all you can go with Anne. But Donnie, he's one of the, I'd say almost all the knights have clear indicators for how much stronger they've gotten over the 2 time skip. The 2 year time skip. Like Tristan, you know he's going to come back with more wings. He's going to come back with bigger wings, maybe a further progressed demon mark, or even bigger Triskelion. For Lancelot, his shining roads are going to be bigger. His attacks are going to be more flashy, stuff like that. For Percy, whenever he gets revived, his hope attacks are going to be larger in scale and stuff like that, and his magic is going to be more concentrated and focused. For Isolde, her detonations are going to be even bigger, even though landmarks or whatever they are, they will also get even larger. Kaid will likely summon more and more powerful spirit creatures, not just the tiny ones he has right now in his little gems. For even Gawain, once again, if she's grown better with Dawn, she's most likely gotten bigger magical abilities, better magical abilities, and likely has cut down on the incantation time, so she's much more like Merlin, where Merlin kind of doesn't really need to chant unless it's something like Chrono Coffin, but even then, we know she was specifically chanting out Chrono Coffin in the original series to stall so Meliodas could come back as the Demon King and they could execute the Demon King. We see in the alternate Cath timeline that she doesn't really even say a word, and boom, Chrono Coffin was cast. So hopefully Gawain has that sort of growth. Anne's the only one who doesn't have that, visual scale. Even for Nasian's a character who I'm very worried for, considering we don't even get a name drop of him this chapter. Though admittedly, more important things, I hate to say that about Nasian's, but more important things happen this chapter that makes sense we don't get a name drop of Nasian's. But with that being the case, Nasian's doesn't get name dropped. But even he most likely has a clearly more scalable magic because he can just make larger poison clouds. He likely can get a very noticeable speed and strength stat buff. He can most likely also get more potent poisons and stuff like that. He may be able to recreate the effects of things like the Ceranos Horde on his own automatically, or start buffing other people rather than just himself. There are clear ways that everyone else gets stronger, but Investigator, it's so, I hate to say, it's so linear that I'm not sure how much Anne can evolve from this point on. Unlike everybody else, where I can see bigger explosions, I can see more complex spirits, I can see larger bursts of darkness or light, or heck, for Tristan, he may even start developing twilight powers. Once again, that whole like annihilation ability he unlocked right before the time skip. There's more things I can see with all of them, and though I'm very interested to see how Nakaba handles her long term. Because for Donnie, once again, Donnie can just lift up bigger and bigger rocks and get more and more fine-tuned control. And I like how this fine-tuned control is shown to where he has these numerous different hand signs. He goes like this, but then to launch it, he goes from... The mathematicals are not mathematical right now. Let me see, that's Donnie's left hand? So pointer and middle finger are down, and then he has pinky and index ring finger down, and thumb curl in. But then to launch these smaller pieces of earth he breaks off here, it is nice that he uses two, not just one. He breaks off the two smaller pieces of earth, presumably indicated by each finger controlling a piece of earth, like that. But then he proceeds to launch it. See, I can barely even do that. How many of y'all can lift your ring finger with just your pinky up, or even just lift your ring finger up at all? Like me, I don't know. It's a struggle for me to do it. But he then launches it out like this. So that's interesting. I wonder, like, if the different fingers do have certain meanings and stuff like that, or anything, or how much Donnie can evolve with this. Like, what are the... Maybe after, like, another 2-year time skip, could he throw things of this size with just 2 fingers? I don't know. Very, very interesting. I'm very interested to see Donnie's power progression, and I'm once again interested to see how Nakaba does Anne's power progression, and if her magic can evolve even further, so it can actually get some more, like, scalability or combat progression. Because realize her magic didn't even off that one Chaos Knight. They didn't even do that. The Donners had to take care of that. So Anne's magic, while decent, isn't necessarily all too crazy. At least not yet. She needs more like gravity or more weight to be put on people to like one-shot them or do at least lethal damage to them before she can really get up there with the big dogs. Which is why, unfortunately, I mean, even with her new magic, now that people in her group know how it works, I still think she may be the weakest of her crew, which is sad. But we see the Donners launch off with Ground Strike and smack Beltripe directly in the face with it. And I'll admit, once again, this is pretty speedy Gonzalez. But of course, Beltripe doesn't even dodge. He's like, you know, I'm a scientist. Timothy is what I be. Yes. And doesn't even bother with interacting with it. And we see that the Donners is like, whoa. You didn't even need to dodge the strike. Then I'll get more serious and... Donners. My boy. Now, here's the thing. I don't fully understand how sensory abilities work in fiction. I just don't. I don't necessarily have a clear logical mindset or viewing on how they work or function. But, like, presumably, can you sense the guy? Like, notably, he is a decent bit in the air away from them. Like, Donnie does need to end up traveling closer to him. Like, look at this. They're this size compared to him when he's floating in the air. But, like, Donners. Donnie, but you're telling me you can't feel this man being more dangerous than little pebbles that you're throwing at him? Like, really? Really? Like, I don't know, broski. The moment he did that, or the moment he showed up, I'd be like, whoa, you seem a little bit stronger than the rest of your competition. Like, I get that they've never encountered him before. It's very clear that this is their first time meeting each other based on Beltripe's own interactions and their clear lack of knowledge on Beltripe's abilities. But I don't know. In Camelot, even if it would drain me, I'd be going all out from rip. I'd be throwing a mountain. If I was Donnie and I could throw a mountain, I'm throwing a mountain around start. I'm gonna have to see you cut through that before you start taking little ground strikes, bucko. Ground strike, mountain strike. Call me an earthbender. But of course, we see Anne say, "Wait, Donnie." And Donnie's like, "What?" But to throw a mountain at him. I'm goated. And we see Anne say, "You guys are the pest, not us. Britannia's in a sorry state because of you robbing it of its people. We're only trying to take back what was taken away from us." Once again, you gotta chalk it up to the translation thing. But Anne, home slice. I think Arthur's taking much more than its people. Like, you literally, like, I'm not sure the last time you've been to Britannia, but it's literally like a Jenga set. Like, it's literally just gaps in the earth. It's more than the people getting taken. And there's a funny thing about that. I'm really wondering, because part of me, at least when the concept was first introduced, that whole chunks of Britannia have just been getting whoop, whoop into Camelot and dropped. At first, I was like, oh, well, maybe it goes something along the lines of, all right, Arthur needs to slurp up the different parts of Britannia in order to like appease chaos within inside it. Or like there's some weird rule within Chaos's abilities where there cannot be two fully functioning real worlds coexisting born off the same power set. Like Chaos is only able to maintain one full proper world, and ultimately Arthur's not able to fully hard delete the original world and bring everything over, because then you have to like bring over the giants, the demons, or whatever and stuff like that. And thusly he needs to do some weird special thing with taking pieces of Britannia. But then I just thought about it for a little bit. If Arthur even has access to, let's say, 50% the power of Chaos, he likely has more. He is literally the king of Chaos. But let's say he has access to 50%. He should at bare minimum be as strong as Chaos's kids. Like, remember, the fairy tree, something that was getting fodderized and annihilated by a red demon, made an entire separate realm. Fully self-sustainable. There's never been any mentions of like the fairy realm needing to encroach on the real world. The only thing is the fairy tree exists in the mortal realm because it can be accessed via the mortal realm to go to the fairy realm. It can act as a portal to there. But it's not like the fairy tree needs the original world. It has the fairy realm. Same thing with the demon realm. The demon world is its entirely separate own space. It has connections. You can reach it from the mortal realm by the portals that exist there, like the portal we saw in Cursed by Light and the portal we saw right before the Demon World arc. But it's not necessarily reliant on the original world, nor did the Demon King ever even be implied to have taken chunks of the original world to make his own. Same thing for the Supreme Deity in the Celestial Realm. So I'm really wondering if Arthur's just being mean, like straight up being mean, by just taking pieces of the original world. Because there's no realistic reason, unless it does have to do something with Chaos's character, there's no real reason why Arthur should have to take the original pieces. There isn't one. He should at least be stronger than Chaos's kids, based on his interactions with base Mel alone. So, I don't know. I'm a little bit intrigued to see it, you know what I'm saying? But with that being the case, we see that Beltripe is like, you don't understand, do you? People chose to hold on to the happiness within their grasp, rather than clinging to a hope that may never come. And, well, I'll read the rest of the line out first. You believed in something as vague as hope. That's how you got betrayed. Am I wrong? Yo! Beltripe, my boy, you talking spooky, broski. You talking mad spooky. But you don't know the saddest thing about this spooky little talk? This spooky little verbalization? Where'd he lie, though? Where did he lie, though? There's not a single lie in his statement. Everything this man said here is actual, legitimate, factual. Let's break down why. The first statement. People chose to hold on to the happiness within their grasp. Now, that's true. Look at Broski right here. He was literally offered a chance to dip, go back to Britannia, go back, visit his mama. But what did he immediately get mad at Anne for and told her she and her friends need to step down over? Oh, how dare you rebel against Big Daddy Arthur? He gave me back my little sister. The happiness, it was within his grasp. And he didn't want to let that go, to the point where he started insulting and throwing bars and hard word and cold words at Anne for even suggesting the idea that they leave the sister behind, because that's a tangible happiness, one that they can grasp. We see this not only with this guy right here, we see this with the old lady, with her lost husband. In Camelot, she's happy with him. That's a happiness that's in her grasp. There's no hope for the future. Speaking of hope, let's go on to the next part of the statement. Rather than clinging to the hope that may never come true. The hope is that you can still be happy in the future. The hope is that after you've lost somebody, lost something precious to you, that you can move on, find new things in life to cherish, find the rest of your life to enjoy, be willing to live on freely and happily in spite of what you lost, rather than clinging to the past and holding on to the happiness that once was in your grasp, even if that's in an entirely separate way than before. Of course, we don't live in a world like Seven Deadly Sins, where there's literally a guy who can offer you an entire world where, even if there are weird things where, you know, the sister doesn't age, you do have your little eternal happy land forever. There are not anything like that in our world, but if I had to look at the allegory, it's the people who don't move on from things in life, whether that be the loss of people, whether that be the loss of a certain item, whether that be the loss of anything. The inability to move on is in a kind of weird way, a twisted way to hold on to the old happiness. Denial is obviously one of the biggest ideas of that. So, what is hope? It's the hope of development, moving forward, progression, understanding that ultimately staying in the past isn't healthy and may lead to detriments later on. This guy already started to experience that with the fact that his sister's not aging, and we don't know, admittedly, how long that old woman has been there with her not real husband. Because I'm still leaning into the fact that ultimately, in spite of whatever Arthur has done to make these things tangible and make them interact in ways that are not unsuspicious to the people who originally knew in this case, the little sister, and the woman's case, her husband, no matter what kind of magic he drizzled on them to make it seem like they're the originals, clearly he didn't do a perfect job. Clearly there's something wrong about it. Clearly there are conditions or something that needed to be met in order for this reality to take shape and take form. And with that being the case, in a way, by sticking to the past and rejecting any chance of return or development, this guy, the woman, and who knows how many other people who've been persuaded by Camelot have essentially given up on hope. They've given up on the idea that they can move on, that things can change, that life can still be happy after the fact. No, they're fully locked in on the idea that no, I can't do this, not without the person I love, not without the person I cherish. And of course, due to how deeply ingrained this is, obviously this guy grew up here. He was seemingly at best maybe 10, and now he's a full-grown adult. So he may have spent upwards of a decade here with his little sister. So now they're locked in. They're what may have been at least a loose grasp on hope is now locked tight, and that has allowed the propaganda of Camelot to worm their way into their heads, because that happiness is so much greater than any pain they ever felt. And anything of accepting hope, anything of accepting loss would essentially mean accepting that the person they once cared for is gone. The person they so desperately want to see no longer exists, that ultimately there's just nothing left for them anymore. And they now need to move on and find new happiness. We don't know what the old woman had, but at least this guy had his mom. Notably, it's been a long time, so we don't know if his mom is still alive. She may be packed too. But with that being the case, it's a sick and twisted fate. And it's true, what he says here. Rather than clinging to hope that may never come true. Yeah, sure, you can hope to move on. You can hope to find someone else to love. You can hope to find things. But yeah, there are many times where you just won't. You can hope that something will happen that will replace that hole in your heart, but things will never will. That's just how life is. And ultimately, what Arthur wants to avoid is that truth of life. And he wants to provide that ability to avoid that truth of life to as many people as he can. So, of course, he does it this way. And ultimately, even the final statement is correct. You believed in something as vague as hope. That's how you got betrayed. Am I wrong? He isn't. Because who did they believe in the most? Who did they have the utmost faith in? Who did they justify all the actions and hardships and pain and agony they went for? Only to be abandoned by him in the end. In their most pivotal moment, right as they were about to cross the threshold into Camelot and take back the world that they were very much losing, Percival, the night of death, the hope. Their hope literally left them, betrayed them, left them in their most critical hour of need. Just gone, just like that. Not a word spoken to him. And once again, one of the biggest reasons why 128 got me so nettled, Percy didn't even consider the possibility that his friends actually did care about him and willing to risk their life for him. He didn't even consider their opinion, their thoughts, their opportunity. And once again, I think that's fine in character. I've still gonna make a video on it. I've been going back and forth on it because there are a lot of heavy themes that go with Percy deciding to leave his friends and what that symbolizes and all the stuff like that. But with that being the case, I'm fine with it on a character writing level. I think it seems out of character, but with an understanding of Percy's character, or at least the understanding I think I have, it makes sense. But yeah, while sure, betrayed may sound harsh, he did. Their hope literally left and betrayed them. It just be like that when it be like that, especially when it be like that. And that's rough. That's wrong. That's awful. That's hateful. That's agony. But it's no more than the truth. For you see, there's nothing that they could have changed. Because Percy made the choice for them. And what I love the most about this and the statement being made is that despite Donnie gritting his teeth here, getting angry at the fact that Percy was being indirectly slighted, despite the fact that Anne purses her lips and is also angry at what Beltripe says, know what they don't do. They don't shake their heads. They don't say no. They don't even begin to argue that he's wrong. No. Because they know. Oh, geez. I shouldn't have done that. But they know. He's right. He's not wrong. Their hope left them. Their hope betrayed them. And sure, they still have hope. And even they say here, we'll never give up hope. But their hope did leave them. They're now hoping that their hope will return. Gosh darn, I shouldn't have did that. Now, we're just going to keep it at that. We're going to hope for the best. But with that being the case, I love it. I love how this is being acknowledged as a thing that has happened, and it's spread far enough that Beltripe, someone who's never encountered them, knows for a fact that their hope abandoned them. And that it is being acknowledged in universe that yes, ultimately there are people who have given up on hope for the sake of some sort of eternal happiness. And the thing is, hope and happiness don't have to be like separated. They are not independent factors or anything like that. But in this case, they might as well stand on opposing sides. But of course, we see that everything begins to shake and the sister begins to cry as the Donners declares, sorry, it's gonna shake a little bit, but I can't let this slide. I've got to ratio this. Okay, let me stop. But we do get to see that the Donners extends a hand. He goes full 5 fingers at it. Once again, look at the pose here. Like Nakaba easily could have just gone with you need to be stopped. But no, he gives Donnie the lean forward. He has Donnie arch into it a bit. He throws out the hand fully, does the fingers in a unique once again, Nakaba. Oh, he's just so good with it. He's so buttery with it. He's so smooth with it. And we see Donner's lunges in full force. He's about to cook that man for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for insulting their boy. And we see Anne, once again, admittedly, it's a nice enough moment, but I do think it comes with this aspect of acceptance. Because sure, they never will give up on hope. As Anne clearly states here. We will never give up on hope. Hope gave up on them, though. Hope left them behind. So now it's their job to do the impossible and hope that their hope will return to them one day. It's a hope paradox, if you will. Hopeception. I'm sorry, but it is kind of literally hopeception. And we do get to see the Beltripe. He's like, do as you please then. Either way, you'll be gone right here. And we see him draw a blade. And yo, Beltripe, let me cop that real quick. Where's your scabbard, bro? Do you just keep it on you? Beltripe is just like me, for real. Let me not pull that down. He has it on him, and he keeps it on him at all times as we see him yank out a blade. And Beltripe, I love this. He fades into lines as he goes to move. And boom! Instantly passes right on through them. And this beautiful, beautiful 2-page spread of Beltripe. With his true face hidden, but the smile on his armor ever clear. Once again, look at the artistic detail. I'm not sure. Obviously, there are definitely people who do armor better than Nakaba, But he's up there, bro. He's up there, just cooking. Like most of this is black, but little details of the white flecks, which may be holes or may just be like actual accents on it, to the multi layers of detail within the armor itself, using the shading. Once again, not even just is all cross hatching. This man's a demon. There's not an ounce of shading here. It's just solid blacks and cross hatching. Like I know this had to take a minute because I know it would take me a minute. Like, no, I'm not about to do that, am I? I'm not about to do that, am I? But like, I may just do it. I'm about to freestyle. Let me see. But like, hypothetically, if I were to use my pencil right here, I ain't doing all that because I know this is gonna take 15 years. Shouts to Nagaba for doing this on a week-by-week basis. I ain't doing all that. But with that being the case, we see Beltalipe tear straight on through them, and we see that he slashed so well that they get animated. They don't even know what hit them at first. And they're watching on like, wait, what in the world? And we see that everyone from Anne to the Donners to the Goat Sylvan. Jeez, bro. Why does he look like that? But the Goat Sylvan. They don't even realize what happened. But Anne notices everything is slashed. From her torso to her blade to her very body. From a place like that? And we see the Donners. As juice begins to pour from his flesh, he realizes what has just transpired. Huh? No way. Is this a joke, right? He even cleaved the sky. Once again, I'll chalk that up to a translation thing, but the image does look like it. Do we have another Gojo Slayer? Did this man Berlipe cut space? Did he bisect space real quick? Let me know. Berlipe, let me know. Let me know if you're cutting space out here, Berlipe. Let me know. Because if you out here cutting space, well, I got a versus battle for you, broski. Especially based on what you do later on this chat. I got a versus battle for you. I got a versus battle for you right now. Berlipe, my boy. You got spatial slash built in? I got a versus battle for you right now. I got a couple versus battles for you, in fact. How fast are you, Berlipe? What's your combat speed looking like? Is it FTL? MFTL? MFTL Plus? You got infinite speed and accessible? Let me know. Don't blow me, Berlipe. This is a joke, right? He even cleaved the sky. And the reason this is so impressive is because it doesn't look like he split the clouds. No, there's just like a hole in space. He straight up did cleave the sky. So Berlipe, I don't know, bro. He may be another spatial slasher, another space manipulator. Who knows what could transpire, bro? I mean, it's not like the Seven League series already has, I'd say, three characters on their own who could very casually solo all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Well, maybe one will have some trouble due to something, but like we got another one. I'm happy to add 4 to it. Actually, probably like 5 characters when I think about it, because the Chaos. Well, 6, the Chaos family. But like, I mean, I'll take it. You won't hear me complain about it. But Berlipe slashing space, and once again, Nakaba, he is not afraid to do some gruesome imagery, bro. Because look at this. Sylvan literally sliced in half, Anne's whole other half of her body falling, Donnie getting cleaved straight down the middle. Like, this man's he does not care. Like, notably, he'll never, well, almost never, Escanor's gone, but he will almost never take out characters. But whenever he does fake take them out, like the most clear image that I remember from the original manga is when Galen just cleaved Diane and Meliodas in half. Once again, which is a funny parallel, because I think chapter to chapter, I'd have to double check the original manga, but I'm pretty sure this is even like 133 is like a very similar chapter point to when the goat comes back and ends up tricking Galen. But like, I'm getting massive flashbacks to that because getting cleaved in half is very similar to what Galen was doing to Mel and the crew when he showed up in Camelot. And here's Betalipe in the 4 Nights cleaving people in half just like that, only to be affected by the man who does deal in dreams and illusions. As we see, the sister asks, brother? And we see the brother go to say, no, don't look. Oh Lord, I'm traumatized. Admittedly, he doesn't even see it himself. He turned them both around. And he's covering her eyes. Though we see, with no more than a... Hold on, I can't snap that good. I can't snap. There we go, that sounds good. With a snap of the fingers. And Goth's just like me for real. I think he snaps with his index finger. Notably, with my left hand, I do snap with the middle and pointer. I can't... Like, that's the best snap I can make with my left hand with the index finger. And even then, like, it takes me multiple tries to get a good snap with the left hand. But right hand, I had the same issue with my pointer finger and thumb on my left hand. But with the index finger and the thumb, I can actually snap. I don't know why. I literally, like, if I want to make a double snap, I have to do middle and thumb and index and thumb. And I can't do the opposite. I can't do index and then middle. I mean, it's kind of close, but it's still rough for me. But with a snap of the fingers, we see the go. Restore reality. Though admittedly, the slash of the sky is just canon. That's just a thing that does happen. So Bertolipe, he does have the ability to slash through space itself. I'm memeing right now because we don't know what this is. So it's not actually like a spatial slash. But we see... It's funny how in the original timeline, Sylvain had his tongue out, but in this timeline, he doesn't. Well, obviously not timeline, but in the illusion realm, we see the Donners and Sylvain. The thing is, though, in the illusion, they look a lot more dignified. Like, Anne focused in, blade drawn. Donnie focused up, no sweat drop. Sylvain, he's the only one who doesn't look dignified. But then here, everyone's dripping. Even Sylvain, through his fur coat, is sweating. Donnie's shaking and sweating. Anne is shaking and sweating. I do find that funny. But we do get to see that Betalipe is like, interesting. Just how did you manage to survive my spatial slash? But of course, we see the brother being like, hold up, wait a minute. How? Didn't you just perish? I love how the sister doesn't really care. She's like, oh no, they're still alive. Bertolipe, I am actually secretly Arthur in disguise. Don't make me cut your pay, boy. But we see that the Donna's like, whoa, I'm pretty sure we just got sliced, cut, cleaved, dismantled in half. Right, Anne? I mean, I'm talking to you right now, so clearly we didn't, but right, Anne? And we see Anne go, was that an illusion just now? As she holds herself, being like, wait a minute, I literally just got slashed here. And we see, well, no, we hear a certain goat declares, I know this. I need to listen to more. Maybe I can do that voice. I feel like I can do it. 7 Deadly Schmucks. Their 7 Deadly Sins Abridged series, whoever does their Gother, I love their Gother. It is fantastic. I want to do that voice for Gother. So what I may do in between this chapter and the next chapter, I may just listen to a whole bunch of their Gother clips on repeat and see if I can mimic the exact tenor and tonality and pace that they do with their speech for Gother, because it is fantastic. But admittedly, this is a Gother with emotions, and they're specifically covering in Gother pre-emotions. So I'm not sure. Maybe I shouldn't steal that voice, but I want to. But allow me to give Gother a voice. Actually, let me take a sip, because it'll be complicated. I know this has everything to do with Percival, but you are putting a bit too much energy into your Camelot search. And no, everyone starts looking around like, oh, where did that voice come from just now? The worried Meliodas suspected the worst case scenario. Thus, he requested me to bring you support. And we see, even Bertolipe recognizes that voice. I see, you are the rumored sin. I've got to tip my hat off to you. You narrowly saved them from my attack. I do like how Bertolipe does put respect on the name though. And this is even funnier considering what happened to another for evil who ran into a sin and how badly they got done. Bertolipe, he may have even been looking for something like this, as both the Donners and Anne realize, Gunther, it's the goat. And we see Gunther hit the pose. Q pin. Or, well, the pin is dragged down, not the Q. But I have no idea how to actually make that noise, so you're not getting that out of me. But it is Gunther. Like I mentioned in the spoiler discussion, I am kind of sad he's in his original fit. I hope this is just like an illusion thing, and he comes back with his new fit, because the new fit was cool. And notably, he's the only one, well, admittedly, we haven't seen Diane or King. And Escanor's dead. Like, he's the only one who's kind of stuck with the old fit, like Mel, but then again, no, because when Mel was reintroduced, he had the old fit, kinda, but then he had the new tie. And then when he came out to fight Arthur, he very specifically slid on the new drip, which was the coat. So I'm hoping he switches back. If since Nakaba drew him in the color page with the new fit. So I'm hoping this is an illusion type thing. And that ultimately, everybody's getting pro-played here. Because while the old fit is a nice nostalgia callback, if you haven't read Four Knights, then I guess it actually works. If you haven't read Four Knights, this is just a new fit. This is well, no, if you haven't read Seven Deadly Sins, this is a new fit. New drip. New money. Fresh cash. This is new. If you haven't read Seven Deadly Sins. But for me, as a person who did read Seven Deadly Sins, man, get this old fit out of here. In fact, I do prefer his more original and iconic fit in comparison to his Holy War fit. His Holy War fit was kind of weird. But we see the GOAT returns. And I do love how they all recognize him and they're all shocked. And shocked. 2 sweat drops. Donnie shocked. 3 sweat drops. The GOAT Sauvage shocked. No sweat drops though, just nose drip. And we see that they start having a whole conversation in front of Bertolipe. Like he's not there and going to attack them. But of course, the natural question is, how did you, when, what, why, where is Gamorra? How did you get here? And we see Gunther goes on to say, a while ago, I was performing an illusion technique that makes living beings recognize me as a stone within a 10-mile radius from me. Once again, bro, I don't know. Maybe I just need to reread the original series. Maybe I'm planning to do that soon. But I swear Gunther was not this advanced with his illusions before. Like these are just things that he doesn't even have to strike you anymore. He can just make himself appear like a rock within a 10-mile radius. And now, sure, we have characters in Seven Deadly Sins who are like vaporizing islands, creating entire oceans. So like a 10-mile radius isn't crazy, but like in comparison to how close these characters fight in range, the fact that Gunther can kind of just make himself appear as a rock without ever hitting you with a light arrow is pretty good. Like, even most illusionary characters, like a big popular character that I still need to do a versus battle for, Gunther versus Itachi. One of the funny things about that matchup is that, like, well, Itachi also does have really, really good illusions, but he can't just make you appear like something else within a 10-mile radius just because he feels like it. But Gunther can. Very, very impressive. This man's kind of freaky deaky. And before, he had the bear. Well, no, that was a barrier. That was a separate spell. But yeah, we have seen him disguise himself and make him appear as different things. But just a straight up rock? Impressive. Though admittedly, I do think it is kind of bad for him to reveal himself now. Like, he should have at least struck Bertolipe while he was still in rock form, so Bertolipe wouldn't be able to do what he does towards the end of this chapter. He does show his hand a little bit too soon, as he explains, in fooling the enemy, first deceive your friends. And we see the Donners and Anne both get a little bit dejected as they ask, oh, really? Are we not that trustworthy? And all Anne does is grumble a bit. But, I mean, yeah, like, no offense to Donnie and Anne, but you're not Tristan. You're definitely not Lance. Heck, you guys don't even count as Gawain. So, it is just genuinely for your safety. And what I do like is how Gunther mentions here that, yeah, sure, they've been authorized to go for searches in Camelot, no doubt about that. But they are doing a bit much. They are doing a little bit too much, all in order to satiate their emptiness for Percy. Showing that, once again, ironically, by Percy trying to leave to keep them safe, he's only put them in more danger. Because now they're risking more. Presumably Nasians isn't here or got captured or is the friend or any of their friends, right? Because Anne mentions there's a treasured friend. I've seen people saying it may be Isolde. I personally believe it's Nasians because he's not shown up yet. But either way, presumably they've gone so hard because they're missing a knight. because Percy left. Maybe Nasians or Isolde or whoever wouldn't be captured if it wasn't for Percy leaving. Maybe Britannia would be in a much better state if it wasn't for Percy leaving. You fumbled. And even Gother's like, bro, you're going a little bit too hard for this. I respect the pain, the agony, the W suffering, but it's a little bit much. And we see that ultimately, Gother admits, Captain's fears turned out to be right. If I weren't here, it's a certainty that you would have perished. Beltripe. I love how he has the R in his name. The Green Knight of the Four Evils. He is Himothy. Bro, look at him post it. Yo. I don't know. At least for me, though. Thing is, I can't get my full body in frame for this. But, like, how do you look so cold? Just post it up in midair with your blade, bro. Bro's posted up like this, blade at hand, and he just looks so metal. I think it's the armor. It's the armor and the blade itself carrying a whole bunch. But golly, Broski, he's looking way too metal right now. He's looking way too Himothy. But with that being the case, we see Gother gets cut off. Not in a sentence, but literally, as Beltripe. He is tremendously powerful, and boom. The goat gets cleaved straight, not in half. I'd say in thirds. Because, like, torso. And he has, like, a chunk of his arm. Well, to be fair, like, the whole shoulder comes off. But Gother gets pieced already. Now, I would slop off Bertolipe for this, mainly because we don't even see him move. Like, we don't even see him swing his blade. And the whole little mini island they're on gets cleaved in half and then shatters. But what I will give this, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, none of Gother's scaling is actually that crazy. Like, at least from the original series. Sure, he's definitely gotten stronger and more adept with his magical abilities, but, like, nothing the man has really been too crazy. Like, unlike Diane, who admittedly I slept on. I completely forgot she actually did damage to the Supreme Deity in Cursed by Light. I watched that movie, like, twice. And even then, I didn't watch, like, the air fight with the Supreme Deity all too much. I was just looking for the Zelda Sentinel stuff. So, I'll admit, I completely forgot Diane having, like, a pretty crazy feat for just her base self going up against the Supreme Deity. But, like, Gother doesn't really have much scaling-wise. Like, durability, attack potency-wise, he's mainly a hacks beast. And sure, his hacks are fantastic, but, like, notably, even after he gets his power up and gets his full original power back, he only tags Mael after King has beaten the life out of him and Mael's about to explode. Against the Demon King, he catches him off guard with the light arrow when it's DK Mel. And then against the real Demon King, once again, when he goes in, that's like Kill Switch being covered by a whole bunch of other attacks merged in by Merlin and stuff like that. And then in Cursed by Light, I think he does tag the Supreme Deity. And like his hacks are great. Like they're able to affect, like he uses Breaker off on the Supreme Deity to paralyze her. And that works. So like his potency of his magical abilities are still very, very high. Able to affect the deities. Even when they're light-based, when realistically they should have affected the Supreme Deity. But that just goes to show how Gother is. But in terms of direct scaling and durability, it's cool that Bertolipe was able to slice Gother so cleanly. But, I don't know, bro. It'd be more impressive if it was Diane. Or King. Who has, like, durability feats against the Prime Demon King. Or even, like, yeah, obviously Melon Bond. So, I'll give Bertolipe his credit, but it still isn't the craziest thing. And I do think there's some sort of game being played here by Gother. Because I don't think Gother's stupid enough to just reveal himself, allow himself to get slashed, and call it that. I think this was purposeful. Though we do see that, yeah, the islands cleave straight in half. And I guess this severs some of Donnie's control as Anne yells, Gother! And everyone watches as the whole island breaks apart, and Donnie realizes, oh no, I'm about to drop everything, no! And everyone screams as they all fall. No way, Gother doesn't verbalize for the rest of this chapter. He's kind of just dead silent. We know he doesn't feel pain. He is a doll. So I once again do believe this is something of a setup, but Donnie does bring them all together. As he says, come here! Get over here! And he drags them all towards him. Notably, I feel bad for Gother, though. He may actually have permanently lost that arm and stuff like that, unless it falls into the hole with them, because Donnie doesn't grab his arm or leg. And we've seen him put himself back together, but that's only when the pieces are close enough to him. So I'm hoping that he's able to, like, heal them himself, or, like, they fall through the hole with them. But regardless, we see that We've got inside the chaos hole, but we'll eventually be scattered away. Let's firmly grab each other's hands. So they all lock in together. And notably, the guy does stay with them, but I guess he has no choice now. He's Loki, Brand, and a traitor. And we do see, Nagaba didn't get to color all this, but we do see that Anne says, "Don't perish on us, Gother." And they fall into the chaos hole abyss. And we see that Bertolipe says, "Whatever you fall into, there will be no hope for you. There's already a network of vigilance in place throughout Camelot." As we see, Gother of the Seven Deadly Sins gets chopped in two in a single strike. Camelot's strong enemy appears at last. To be continued in chapter 134, Stranger. So, man, there is no more apt wording. Appears at last is the omega bar. Because yes, I will admit, even characters like Ironside and Pell, they seem powerful, and I know they were holding back, but we haven't really gotten a swole Camelot dude since Arthur himself showed up, so I'm happy that Bertolipe is up there. Our cast hasn't leaped up beyond the general Chaos Knight or 4 evil tier. There are still monsters lying in a way. I'm super happy about that. I'm also very happy with the return of Gother naturally. Of course, with my goat alone, my boy Gother coming back, this chapter is most certainly worthy. I'm very interested to see where they end up in this beautiful chaos hole that they end up wandering down. I'm excited to see how Gother is going to maintain without his arm and leg. I'm excited to see any other characters. Maybe we should switch POVs. Maybe we see more. There's so many things yet to come, but I'm excited for them all. Now, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave sliced goat in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also want to become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dagger the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, Red Wolf 4765, Greyhound, and Akid's Void. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, Demix LND, and Igneal. And I'd like to give a chunky old thank you to our $7 member, Autumn's Morning Lazo. And I'd like to give another chunka thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchio, Joaquin, Idemokami, and China Doll 09. I'd like to give a tractor thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give another giga gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.